Hey, Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Hey, Deb.
Hi, Chuck. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yourself?
Not too bad. I see you're not physically at City Hall tonight.
No, Danny kicked me out.
Yeah, too many people in that council chambers.
He didn't like me looking over his shoulder.
Danny, are you still on mute or were you able to unmute you? Pull the mouse down to the bottom and then go over to the side to the mute. I'll walk upstairs.
Hi, Randy. How are you?
I hope I'm here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, you never really know.
You never, yeah. Could be a never, never land, huh?
Well,
Oh,
you know, I'm getting drug into this 21st century kicking and screaming with
Yeah.
this COVID business.
oh. Oh.
Can you guys hear us?
Yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you, Mara.
Fixed it. Okay.
You didn't get out that easy, Danny.
You know, Danny, I got to tell you, you're the youngest guy on the screen and you couldn't get it right. Makes me feel better.
I had a hunch that I knew what it was, but I'm afraid to touch anything on this to screw it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you.
Danny, how are we looking for September 10th? Are we getting a agenda going or do you have anything yet?
Don't think we've gotten anything for September yet. We had
Okay.
one project that we thought was going to have to come in. And they worked on their plan and didn't have to come. So
Yeah, good for them.
I don't think we got anything yet. We'll probably be a little flexible if somebody turns something in soon, but
Mm-hmm.
how's your week going, Randy?
You know, it's not been bad. I gave a couple lectures down at St. Louis U, which I do just for fun, and I really enjoy it. And I've been playing pickleball, so it doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah.
Randy, have you used the new pickleball courts over at the Pear?
No, I'm not, and I'm actually very anxious to see what Webster does with those new courts that they're putting in.
Oh, are they putting some in? Oh, good.
But I'm very curious. I hope they accommodate some of the pickleball people because, you know, a lot more folks are playing that than are playing tennis anymore. They just,
Oh, yeah. Well, you might be able to save your legs. You won't have to get a new knee after.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, really, or don't need a new knee.
No.
But it's just, it surprises me how popular this has become, even with younger people. So we'll see.
I don't know. Those tennis players are pretty militant about those courts.
Oh, they are indeed. And you know, and that's also, actually, that's the Webster Groves tennis, you know, the teams courts.
Right.
So you got to keep them, you got to preserve them for them. You can't
Well, it's
let that go.
Webster High, Webster University, and Narix, I think,
Yeah, I think they
all
all
shared
play.
in those courts.
It is all three of them, but they have set it up to be able to do pickleball, is my understanding.
What you can
Okay.
do is if you line the courts a little bit differently in kind of muted colors, then you can play pickleball without upsetting the tennis players. The problem is the
Linda.
net for tennis is slightly
Hey, come
higher.
here a second.
Tom, we can hear you. We just can't see you.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to get my picture up.
There's a little camera down at the bottom that says start video.
I also just did the
Start
ask to
video.
start video for you.
Okay.
There you go.
Am I on?
Yep.
You're on.
Hey. You never know.
So Danny, are Scott and Zach going to be here?
They will be.
Okay.
I saw Zach this morning, and Scott's wife said he would be here too, so.
Well, I guess we aren't quite at 7.
Hey, I want some credit. Last time it took me 10 minutes to get on, so I'm improving slow but sure.
Definitely. Hi, David. David's our applicant tonight for the variance.
Nice to meet you.
So far, we are waiting on 2 of our board members to join, our board chair and our vice chair. So we'll get started soon, though.
Tom, is that your dog?
No,
I
I have 2
think that's
cats,
my
so
dog.
I'm innocent.
It's my dog.
Oh, it's your dog, Randy.
Yeah.
Okay.
My wife is currently strangling her.
Oh, well,
Mara,
my
are we already
cat's hiding
recording?
behind the monitor. She's on the dining room table, which she's not supposed to do, hiding behind the monitors.
Yes, Chuck, it started recording actually when Danny and I started setting it up at 6:30. So
Okay.
we're good.
Okay. I just saw the red light on it. Oh, I better be
Yeah.
careful what we say.
Yes.
Well,
It's set up to record so that we get it in properly, but we can cut off, I think, the first part like we did last time when it took us 40 minutes to get everybody on.
Better to have too much than too little, right?
We are
Agreed.
not strangling the dog. Oh,
And I am watching patiently, and as soon as the other 2 come on, I will add them.
I think they both have young kids, so they may be held up with young children right now.
So what are you saying, Danny, that everybody that's on now is old or what's the deal?
May not have younger children.
Our lives might be
Just
less
younger.
complicated. How does that
Yeah.
sound?
There you go.
Danny, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say
Yeah.
will be used
I
against.
can always just mute myself.
We're just trying to ad lib to keep us happy while we wait. I got it.
Instead of small kids, you could have an annoying teenager who was upset that I had to come back here.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to get her to soccer by 8.
Hmm.
That's okay. I'll leave this
At
in
least
Danny's
she's
hands.
playing soccer. That's good.
It is.
Yeah.
But no high school tryouts this week. Those were postponed.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they trying to play football at Kirkwood or at Webster? Do you know?
They put a hold on all the sports for tryouts. We did do practices this summer for softball and soccer. And then they postponed a couple weeks into it and said they could only play one in the summer.
Oh,
So she did only the fall sport, which was softball. And then softball tryouts were supposed to start Monday and they held off.
boy.
So we'll see.
Yeah, it's tough on kids.
Virtual school starts a week from Monday.
Oh boy. Is Webster going to do virtual school for?
Virtual only until October 23rd.
Okay.
And they're squishing the schedules. So the 1-year classes are going to all be 90-minute classes for the first semester. And they're only doing 4 classes instead of 7.
Okay.
They get to meet in person. They'll only have to change classes in the hallways for 4 times instead of 7 classes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well,
I
it sounds
know.
like they've got a pretty good plan from what,
Yeah.
from what you're saying. Yeah.
Looks pretty good.
Everybody may decide those 90-minute classes are better than the
Yeah.
43-minute classes were.
They could. Danny, do you want me to go ahead and try it's Scott and
Zach,
Zach, right?
yep,
I'm gonna mute and I'm gonna try to make a quick call to them.
okay.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Westra, I appreciate your patience.
Yeah, no sweat. No big deal.
It is what it is.
That's right.
Mm.
All right, both answered the phone immediately saying, I know, Board of Adjustment, I'll be on in a second. So both were, and one was a kid issue.
Yeah.
So as soon as they come on, I'll add them both on.
Uh-oh.
I'm actually having trouble figuring out how to flip through the slideshow with the screen share on.
So go back to your share screen
Mm-hmm.
and put it back on. And then you should be able to use the side arrows.
Mm-hmm.
So go back to from beginning.
Mm.
And then you should be able to just use the side arrows on the, oh, they're both here. Hold on, let me add them in.
Sure.
And then I'll come upstairs.
Oh, okay, I
You
got
got
it.
it?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi guys, sorry about that.
That's
Oh,
okay.
same.
So do
Mr.
we
Nixon,
have,
how are you?
I'm good.
so we have everyone. Zach, feel free to start when you're ready.
Yes, absolutely, Danny. Let me grab the packet because, of course, my technical difficulties required me to change machines, which left my papers in the other room, of course. Just 1 second.
Sure.
Apologies, everyone. I really appreciate you bearing with me. I would like to go ahead and call to order the, now I need to remember the date, the August 13th regularly scheduled meeting of the City of Webster Groves Board of Adjustment. Mr. Nixon, would you call the roll?
Zach Wood,
Present.
Tom Waltz,
Present.
Debbie Sahlberg, sorry.
Present here.
Randy Sprague,
Present.
Scott Nixon is present.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott. Just a brief description of our procedures this evening. So the order of presentation will begin with the city, followed by the applicant and those in favor of the applicant's petition, followed by those opposed to the application. And then the public session will be closed and the board will open for discussion and decision. The proceedings are being recorded, so we ask you to speak clearly and one at a time. We will vote on your application tonight for a decision, and approval takes 4 out of 5 board members. Please try not to be redundant or repetitive in your comments. And Scott, if you would read the powers relative to the requested variance.
Powers relative to variations. When, by reason of exceptional narrowness, shallowness, or shape of a specific piece of property as of September 20th, 1956, or by reason of exceptional topographic, are we doing variations? Am I on the right one?
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you. Sorry. Or by reason of exceptional topographical conditions or other extraordinary or exceptional situation or condition of a specific piece of property, which condition is not generally prevalent in the neighborhood, the strict application of the area regulations of the zoning code would result in peculiar and exceptional practical difficulties to or exceptional and undue hardship upon the owner of such property. The board is hereby empowered to authorize upon an appeal relating to such property a variation from such strict application so as to relieve such difficulties or hardships.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. Would you read the first case on the docket?
Sure. Docket number 2334, a petition submitted by Alexandra and David Weschler for an application for variance from section 53.196A of the zoning code of the city of Webster Groves. The applicant is requesting 2 variances. The applicant is requesting a variance of 2 feet from the maximum 4-foot fence height in order to allow a 6-foot tall fence of approximately 160 linear feet located on the east side yard. The property is located at 1 Claiborne Place within the A3 10,000 square foot residence district.
I just want to
Excellent.
clarify that may have been an error on the agenda. It is just one variance request.
Okay, one variance request, 2 feet.
Awesome.
Got it.
Okay. Great. Would the city care to present testimony or evidence with respect to this docket item?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the city, I would present the testimony of Danny Januza, and we also have some exhibits that have been previously forwarded to each member of the Board of Adjustment, and I would initially move the introduction of those exhibits into evidence from your packets. And we will take those actual exhibits contemporaneous with the actual testimony of a city planner. With that being said, Danny, would you mind taking the oath, please?
Or I will get out of screen share so that my video is on there, I think.
Danny, your video is able to be seen in the top corner.
Okay, perfect. And I'll leave it as it is.
Yeah, so when you're the active speaker, Danny, it should go back to you, or I guess Mara may have you pinned to be on now, so
Okay.
you should be good.
Perfect.
So Danny, if you would raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, please proceed.
Would you state your name, please?
My name is Danny Januza.
And you are employed by the city of Webster Groves, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
In what capacity?
As planner.
What are your duties in that position, please?
My duties are to administer and execute zoning regulations.
If I could direct your attention to the aerial of slide 1, which would be right there. Thank you. So you work with the city. Are you familiar with number 1 Claiborne Place?
Yes, I am.
Is that within the city of Webster Groves?
Yes, it is.
In what zoning district within the city is this particular parcel of property located?
It is in the A3 10,000 square foot residence district.
Okay, if we could pull up the next slide, please.
Sure.
And what is the applicant's request?
The applicant is requesting a variance of 2 feet from the maximum 4-foot fence height in order to allow a 6-foot tall fence of approximately 160 linear feet located on the east side yard of the subject property.
Next slide, please. What municipal code sections apply to this request?
So the variance request is from section 53.196 for fence height in the zoning code. Subsection A states that fences may be erected to a height of 4 feet on any part of a lot. There are further code sections, section 53.196D, which states that fences may be erected to a height of 6 feet in any part of the rear yard of a lot. And then an exception that states, notwithstanding the above, all other yard areas with street frontage are to be deemed treated as front yard areas for the purposes of the fence regulations. City staff interprets these code sections to mean that 6-foot tall fences are allowed in the rear yard of a lot, but in the side yard or front yard or any yard with street frontage, the maximum height would be 4 feet.
And would you pull up the next slide, please, the boundary survey?
Sure.
Okay. Can you describe the existing conditions on this parcel of property for the board, please?
Sure. So shown above is the boundary and improvement survey of the subject property. It is over slightly over 1 acre in size. According to St. Louis County property records, the house was built in 1867. On this aerial view, you can kind of see that the subject property lies at the north end of a private street that dates back to the late 19th century. There is a second city right-of-way that abuts and terminates on the east side of the subject property. The house faces south towards the private road entrance. This is one of the oldest houses in the area that's still remaining. Based on the adjacent subdivision plats that were established later in the 19th century and early 20th century, city staff believes that much of the surrounding area may have been platted and subdivided into smaller lots around this subject property.
And Mr. Sanjusa, would you explain for the board the actual variance that's being requested here, please?
Yes, so the applicants are seeking to install a 6-foot tall fence around the perimeter of much of their property. The subject of this variance request is that the applicants intend to install a 6-foot tall fence along the east side of their property. Due to the property's unique shape and configuration in relation to the surrounding area and the surrounding properties, much of the perimeter of this property is already able to be to have a 6-foot tall fence if it's done in collaboration with the surrounding neighbors. On the slide shown above, there's a faint green line marked around the perimeter where a 6-foot fence typically would be allowed, or just would be allowed with a either by right to the property owner or with collaboration of the neighbors. And the areas marked in red are where a 4-foot fence would be required, either because it is in a street frontage, in a front yard, or would be in the side yard of the subject property. Shown now, I've marked with a dashed yellow line where on a typical lot, if there wasn't a second street sort of abutting the east side of the property, if there wasn't that second street frontage where a 6-foot tall fence could go, because the dashed yellow line is representing where the rear yard typically would be considered on the subject property at the back of the house. But staff has interpreted with a strict reading of the code that the city code would not allow a 6-foot tall fence within 30 feet of the end of the Summit Place right-of-way or in the east side yard of the subject property between the main houses at 1 Claiborne Place and 120 Summit Place to the east. Shown on the photos are provided by the applicant of the area that is the subject of the variance where they're seeking to also install a 6-foot tall fence.
Okay, thank you. And with that being said, Mr. Chairman, the city would move the introduction of evidence what has been previously marked as the exhibits together with the testimony of the city planner, and the city would have nothing further.
Great. Our board accepts the testimony and evidence presented by the city. Excellent. And who is here to speak in favor of docket item 2334?
I am. David Wexler.
Hello, Mr. Wexler. Are you the, would you mind raising your right hand for me?
Sure.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And again, appreciate you bearing with me while I sorted out my technical difficulties.
No sweat.
So please, we'd love to hear from you and anything you'd care to add to your application.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the Board of Adjustment. As you can tell from the survey, our home is located between Great Circle and the newer construction houses to the east of us. Per the way the land was originally laid out, we would have been able to have a fence in our backyard, but with the newer constructions over the years, we're no longer to have that. We plan on putting a pool into our yard, and it would be safer to have a 6-foot fence present rather than a 4-foot one, which could be easily hopped over. one of the biggest problems that we've had over the years is we would have kids who would go back and forth between the neighborhood next to us on the Summit side, as well as from Great Circle, or what it was previously called. And they would cut through our backyard to get access to the streets and go back and forth. If we had a higher fence on all sides of our property, it would be safer for us and for our kids. There's been occasions that we've had to call the police over it, and it would be great if we had a taller fence there as a deterrent. Lastly, when our neighbors pull into the driveway, they would very much like to see a streamlined look of a tall fence and gate versus seeing into our backyard. The last two houses on the street are the only ones who would really be affected by this, and they both are they both really want it, just like we do.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Hey, Zach, I have one. 'Cause in the application, it mentioned a swimming pool. Is there going to be a swimming pool you guys are going to install?
Yes, we plan on installing a swimming pool in the next year or so along that side of the property.
Yeah, and that would be what, along the east, where the east fence is?
That's correct.
I guess my other question is, as you walk into your property from Summit, there's a lot of overgrowth along that current fence. Are you going to clear that out, or what's your plan on that? I'm just curious.
The plan is to clear out the honeysuckle eventually. It is nice to have the green growth, but we would like to get rid of the invasive honeysuckle and potentially put up some other trees and green barriers to supplement the fence.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Do you derive any access to your property from Summit, or is all your access via Claiborne?
We get access from Claiborne and Summit.
So when you put a fence up, how do you intend to do that? Do you intend to close off all access via Summit, or will you have a gate or what?
It's our intent to place a gate back there.
And would that be a man gate or a car gate? I'm just curious.
Car gate.
Car gate? Okay.
I guess of one more question. The existing fence, where there is one around your property, is it currently 6 feet? I mean, obviously it's not where you want to put a 6-foot fence.
We don't have a 6-foot fence around our house presently. Our neighbor installed a 6-foot fence along the back of their property, and it goes 4 feet alongside of their property to the front of their house. And we presently have just some temporary fencing to keep the dog in. So the plan is to install a new fence, 6 foot, to cover that side and eventually the entire property.
Okay, so your plan is to eventually put, if you can, 6-foot fence around your entire, at least backyard, probably.
Yes, yeah, that's
okay.
right.
If I could ask, am I correct that, and I did see the neighbors, they have their 4-foot fence sort of coming in right now. Actually, Chesterfield fence was there today. And so I can see that your 6-foot fence would be behind that. Are the other neighbors also on board with this? I was a little unclear from the documents that I had.
Right, because there was a name crossed off. That was
Yeah.
my concern, my question too.
I guess that's what I'm asking, David. Is everybody on board?
Yes, everyone is on board, and all the neighbors have signed the petitions attesting to that effect.
Okay. I was a bit confused because there was a couple names crossed off of one of the letters we had.
So I can jump in on that.
Okay.
One of the neighbors emailed me in the past few weeks and asked for their name to be removed from the petition. And I consider that a matter between the two property owners.
Right.
But they formally asked for their name to be removed from the petition.
And this isn't an official form, is it? Exhibit
No.
8? It was just a FYI.
Right.
Okay.
Correct. It's not something that the city required.
Okay.
We essentially had 4 people agreeing to it, 2 in each property, until this one person got removed for some reason.
Fair enough.
Annie, can you go back to that slide that showed the where the 6-foot fence would be allowed?
Sure. So the green areas are where the 6-foot could go in with neighbors, and then the red indicates where the code only allows a 4-foot fence.
Danny, repeat for me why on the east lot line, they need a variance for the 6-foot fence in the area there.
So in a sort of, well, in staff's interpretation of what that east side yard area is, we interpreted that within 30 feet of the Summit Place right-of-way, where that ends, where it abuts their street, we determined that would be considered a street frontage and a front yard, where the city code does not allow a 6-foot tall fence at a street frontage, if we're doing a strict interpretation of it. And then further below the Summit Place right-of-way, that is actually considered the side yard of 1 Claiborne, and the code also doesn't allow a 6-foot fence in the side yard. Anything that would be in front of or south of the rear building line, marked in yellow, is considered the side yard. Anything north of it is the rear yard, where typically a 6-foot tall fence could go.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
I'm a little concerned about this concept of in collaboration with the neighbors. So if it's the neighbor's rear yard, a 6-foot, and the neighbor was okay with it, you could have a 6-foot fence in that portion of your yard. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. So the area in red is not in the neighbor's rear yard, it's in the neighbor's front or side yard, or the front part of their yard. Okay, I understand now, thank you.
Zach, you're muted.
Thank you, Mara. So are there, I guess I'll take the silence preceding my unmuting as confirmation perhaps, but I'll wait for final confirmation. There are no further questions from the board.
No.
Okay, Mr. Wexler, is there anything that you'd like to add or respond to?
No, I think I covered it pretty well. Basically, we want the privacy and the extra security of the fence. We would like to have it for the safety of having a pool there, and we want it for the aesthetic effect for ourselves, and our neighbors would like it for the aesthetics as well. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much. And now, Mara, I guess I can ask you, is there anyone else participating in the conference or has joined the queue other than the city staff, city attorney, board members, and the applicant?
No one else is in attendance.
Okay. So we can take that then as definitive confirmation that there is no one else here who would like to speak in favor of the application, and no one else here who would be in opposition to the application. But before we take a motion to close the public session, pause to ask if the board has anything that they'd care to ask or inquire about before we do that. Sounds like a no.
No.
Okay. Well, would anyone care to move to close the public session?
I move to close the public session, move to executive session.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, sounds like a no. Okay. So anybody care to share their thoughts?
Well, it is an irregular lot, one that, I mean, I don't believe, although there's some weird stuff in Webster. I don't know that I've ever seen something quite along these lines. So there are some unique circumstances with this lot.
I'd agree with that. You have not even a corner lot situation. It's a street ending in your side yard that the neighborhood kids don't necessarily recognize as ending.
And I'd add, if the city is interpreting that there's a front yard where Summit comes in, that's also rather, I'd just say irregular. I'm not questioning the city's interpretation, but the truth is the front yard is on Claiborne on the loop.
Well, except the owner did say that they access the property from Summit as well as from Claiborne. So it's similar in that matter to a corner lot in that you have access on two roads.
I stuck my nose in the property yesterday and I didn't feel I was coming in the front door.
Well, I didn't go clear up Claiborne. I just came down Summit, but yeah, you're right. It didn't seem like the front door. And that was one of the reasons why I asked if they used it as access, because it didn't really look like they did.
Yeah.
No, I would say the topography here is very different. I think the access to this house is clearly off of Claiborne. This has nothing to do with coming up the other way. I think this is an extremely unusual lot. I understand how one might want to divide this out. I don't see that it makes a lot of difference to the houses that are on the street behind them in any way, shape, or form. I think it's just not going to make any difference. I understand completely that the entrance to this house is off of Claiborne. That's how you come into the house. And if they want access from the back, that's fine. We have access from the back of our home too, but it's not the front of the house.
Right.
Yeah. So if I might restate a little bit of what I've heard, if I understand what Danny presented correctly, there are two issues that pertain to that section of fence. The one is the city's strict interpretation that Summit coming in there is frontage. The second issue, it pertains to where they view, right, with this unique lot, right, where they view the backyard. And so, like the corner lot situation. So I think, right, those are our two sort of strict application issues. And as I've heard, I think everyone state, right, the exceptional shape of the property certainly prior to 1956. We have exceptional topographical conditions and a number of, I would say, extraordinary or exceptional situations or conditions here that aren't prevalent in the neighborhood or the community really in many ways. So for me, I certainly see both of those strict applications as falling under the exceptional or practical difficulties, certainly if not, undue hardship. So that's what I've heard, and that's my opinion, but if anyone disagrees.
I agree.
I think you've heard correctly.
I try to listen, Tom.
You did.
I'd like to make Are we ready for a motion? Or is there more board
Certainly.
discussion?
I'm ready for a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve docket 2334.
Second,
Somebody second.
or Scott can second.
All right, we have a motion to approve docket item 2334 that has been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, and Scott, would you please call the roll?
Zach Wood,
Aye.
Debbie Stallberg,
Aye.
Randy Sprague,
Aye.
Thomas Waltz.
Aye.
Matt Nixon voted aye.
All right, well, congratulations. That is unanimous approval of docket item 2334's application for a variance. Please see city staff during regular business hours for your next steps.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you. everyone.
Absolutely, and thank you for rolling along with our unusual format.
And good luck. That's gonna be a heck of a fence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remote and defense.
All right. Have a good one, everyone.
Okay.
We just had a power outage at City Hall.
We need to adjourn.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Well, I think if they've just had a power outage at City Hall, that's probably it, because there's nothing else on the
That's an
docket.
adjournment.
Yeah.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
we can hear you and see you, Danny.
Okay, we just had a random power outage at City Hall.
Okay.
But it's back on. I don't know what happened.
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and if there's no other docket items, is there any other business?
There's no other business.
You need
Okay.
anybody in to sign anything anytime soon?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Signatures? You need any signatures anytime soon?
I do. I should come by, or maybe call you guys to try to meet somebody at your houses if you guys are working from home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get in touch with you guys on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm around, Danny.
Okay.
So, excellent. Well, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All
Aye.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone have a lovely
Right.
evening.
You too.